If you're an employee and you see something unsafe at work, what do you do about it? Should you report it? And if so, why? What are the potential consequences of reporting a safety issue or an OSHA violation? And who do you report it to? Your boss? HR? OSHA? And if reporting it is a good idea, what is the best way to go about doing it? My name is Branigan Robertson, and I'm an employment lawyer. I'm going to answer all of those questions and more in this video. This video is part 2 in a 4-part series called Workplace Safety for Employees. In the very first video, I detailed your rights to a safe work environment and the laws that are there to protect employees. This video is all about the proper ways to report an unsafe work environment and the risks and benefits of doing so. The third video is all about what to do if you get retaliated against for reporting an unsafe workplace and the money that you could win in a lawsuit. And the final video is about what you should do if you get hurt on the job and the money that you would get from workers' compensation for the time away from work that you had to take in order to recover. Now, I highly recommend that if you haven't seen the first video, go back and watch it before you watch this one. Everything will make a lot more sense once you watch the first video. But before we get back to the whiteboard to get to today's content, I need to say 3 quick things. The first thing is a question. What is the worst safety violation that you have ever seen at work? Once you've got it in your head, hit pause in the video and tell me about it in the comment section down below. I love hearing all the crazy stories that you all have from the job. Number 2, I have a license to practice law in California, but I'm making this video for all workers across America. This video covers the basics, but this video is not legal advice for your situation. The safety laws can differ from state to state, and more importantly, I don't know you or anything about you or your situation. You should never take what is said on a YouTube video as legal advice. If you need legal advice, you need to pick up the phone and call a lawyer in your state. And 3, if you are in California, please don't call me looking for free legal advice. The free consultation process at my office is for Californian workers who got fired and they believe that they have a case for wrongful termination, retaliation, discrimination, or something serious like that. The consultation process is not for answering everybody's quick legal questions. That doesn't exist, by the way. They're all detailed. Part of the reason why I make these videos is to answer as many questions as possible at scale. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get back to the whiteboard. If you watched the last video, then you know that there are literally thousands of OSHA safety regulations that apply to virtually every workplace, every task, and every industry. The whole point of these regulations is to keep you, the employee, safe on the job. But as you can probably imagine, there are lots of safety regulations that are routinely ignored by bad employers. So what should you do if you're working and you notice something that is unsafe? If you're smart, you've probably already figured out that safety issues are a damned if you do, damned if you don't dilemma. Let me explain. If you report the safety violation, you might really upset your boss and get retaliated against, maybe even fired. But if you don't report the safety violation, you will probably get fired if somebody else gets hurt because you knew about the issue and didn't report it. So, what should you do? Assuming it is something you can't just easily pick up or fix yourself, I'm here to tell you that you should probably report the safety issue. But why, how, and to who are very important questions that need to be thoughtfully evaluated before you act. All right, let's break that down and first discuss why you should report safety violations. Here are 5 reasons. Number 1, you might fix the problem. It's possible that your employer doesn't even realize the unsafe situation exists, and once they become aware of this situation, the good companies generally will quickly fix it. In that case, you've done the right thing, and you might save you or somebody else from serious injury or death. So good job being a hero. Number 2, if you don't report it and another employee later gets hurt, you're probably going to get fired anyway as a scapegoat because you knew about the issue and didn't elevate the matter to management. Number 3, if you don't report it and it remains unfixed and you later get seriously hurt, the workers' compensation system, which we will talk a lot more about in video number 4, is unlikely to fully compensate you for the time off of work, and it's unlikely to fairly pay you for the pain and suffering that you go through. And number 4, OSHA and Cal-OSHA both say that you have a legal right to refuse to do unsafe things at work. Moreover, there are plenty of powerful laws on the federal and state level that protect you from retaliation for complaining about safety. And 5, if you do report it and shortly thereafter you get fired, your legal case against the company will be much stronger and thus more valuable as opposed to if you hadn't reported anything. We will discuss this as well in much more detail in the next video, which is all about retaliation. Now, obviously, if you report a safety violation, company management is not going to be very happy with you. Therefore, the next logical question that you should be asking yourself is, how should I report safety violations? Well, the answer is that you need to do it in a way that does 3 things. Number 1, clearly explains the safety violation or issue in writing, where it's located and why it's a hazard. Number 2, minimizes the chances of being retaliated against, right? You don't want that to happen. And number 3, you want it to legally protect you if the company decides to ignore the law and terminate you. So let's look at this. How do we do it? A series of steps. Step number 1, you should first ask yourself the following question. Is this something that might injure me or a coworker? If the answer is yes, then ask yourself, is there something reasonable that the employer can do to either fix the problem or at a minimum raise awareness about the problem so that employees are less likely to inadvertently get hurt? If the answer is yes to this as well, then go to step 2. Now, this isn't totally necessary, but I do recommend that you take a few minutes to determine if one of the general duties under OSHA or Cal-OSHA are being violated. If you want to know more about what the general duties are, then you have to go back and watch the first video in the series. Then I recommend that you take a few more minutes and go research whether a specific OSHA regulation is being violated. You can do this, again, by either going to OSHA or Cal-OSHA's website, and I'll leave links in the description below so you can click over and do your research. Now, let's say you research your issue and you're still unsure whether or not it violates any regulations under OSHA. Well, I would still encourage you to report it for 2 reasons. If it could cause a serious injury, chances are that it violates something and you just can't find the regulation on point. And 2, even if it doesn't violate a specific regulation, the law may, in most states, will still protect you from retaliation because your complaint was about safety. And the lawmakers in every state across the country take safety very seriously and put in place protections for folks in those situations. Okay, after step 2, there are 2 paths that you can take this process. So let's break down each one. Path number 1 and step 3 is to report the safety issue immediately to OSHA, or if you're in California, to Cal-OSHA. You would call your local OSHA division, file the complaint, and then let them deal with the safety issue from there on out. I'll leave links in the description below to OSHA's complaint webpage, as well as Cal-OSHA's complaint webpage. So what happens next? Well, OSHA will likely try to keep your report anonymous, so that your employer, in theory, isn't told that you are the whistleblower. But don't let that fool you. You'll see what I mean when I explain about this in a minute. So after you submit your complaint, OSHA will probably send your employer a letter saying, hey, we've received a complaint, and you now, Mr. Employer, have a duty to investigate and fix this safety issue. Sometimes OSHA will go beyond that. They will do an unannounced visit at the job site and issue a citation if the safety issue in fact exists. Some good employers, upon receiving a letter like this or a site inspection, will do the right thing and fix the problem. Well, okay, great. What's wrong with that path? Well, it sounds like a good route to take, Going directly to OSHA is not my preferred method of blowing the whistle. First of all, in my opinion, this just teaches your employer how to conceal safety issues, how to hide them, rather than fix them. Secondly, after OSHA contacts the company, your employer will probably go on a rampage and spend a lot of time interrogating your coworkers to try to find out who submitted the complaint. And one by one, your coworkers will go, "I didn't do it, I swear on my life." And chances are, eventually, your boss will find out that you were the one who did it, or strongly suspect that you were the rat who sent in the complaint. And unfortunately, I've seen this happen many times. And if they strongly suspect that you were the one who sent OSHA the complaint before bringing the issue to their attention, you have just destroyed your career at that company. They will never promote you or put you in a position of authority because you betrayed their trust and went to the authorities before giving them a chance to fix the issue. All right, let's look at path number 2. Path number 2. This is my preferred method of whistleblowing to OSHA. Call it boss first, HR second, OSHA third. So step number 3, I would first send a polite, helpful, courteous email or text message to my immediate supervisor saying, "Hey, I noticed," that's where you would say the safety issue, "I think this could be a safety issue or OSHA issue, and I think we need to address it. Is there anything that I can do or we can do to fix this problem?" And you could also make a small proposal on how to fix the safety issue. And it's really important that you keep this email or text message short, non-confrontational, helpful, and polite. Do not send your boss a 14-page diatribe. It should be short, in writing, and helpful. So why should you go to your boss first rather than straight to HR or OSHA? Well, I have 3 reasons for this. Number 1, this is your best chance at fixing the problem without creating a huge headache for you or for the company. You're giving them a chance to remedy the situation, which will be really important if things go to court down the road. Number 2, most people have a working relationship with their boss, a level of trust, and they are unlikely to get retaliated against if they come to their boss in good faith like this. Remember, polite, non-confrontational. Number 3, there is incredible danger in going to HR. I made an entire video series about this, which I highly recommend you watch. And while you might have to report it to HR eventually, as you'll see in a minute, I wouldn't start there unless your relationship with your boss is already really bad. And obviously, you should print yourself out a copy of this message and save it in your records, in case, God forbid, you have to go to court. Step number 4. Okay, you sent a message to your boss. Now you need to wait. Wait a week or 2. Hopefully your boss and the company take action immediately and fix the issue. If so, you can pat yourself on the back for being a hero. If nothing happens, but you suspect that your boss will take action on the issue, well then just bump it back up to the top of his inbox. Oftentimes folks are just overwhelmed with work and they forget about things that are even important. Just say, "Hey, I sent this to you, I didn't hear back. I think you should see this, I think it's important." Hopefully that will get the ball rolling. But if your boss ignores that and ignores you, and it becomes abundantly clear that he or she has no intention of taking action to fix the problem, then it's time to get a little more aggressive. Step 5, elevate the matter in writing to HR, ownership, or whoever else is most appropriate. This person should be in a position of authority to actually do something about the issue. This email should be more detailed than the one you sent to your boss. It should clearly explain the safety issue, what you think should be done to fix it, and that you think failing to address it could lead to an injury. It would also be helpful if you could point out the appropriate OSHA regulation or duty, but again, that's not essential. Now this email should be, again, polite, non-confrontational, helpful. Remember the old adage, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That is absolutely applicable to pretty much everything in the law, but definitely this kind of stuff here. And on that subject, before you send this email, I strongly recommend that you watch my 2-part series on human resources. The first one's called Why HR Sucks, and the second one's called How to Complain Properly to HR. Those videos will teach you the best method to deal with HR so that you don't inadvertently become an enemy of the company. Again, you want to minimize the chances that the company is going to target and retaliate against you. And I think this is the best way to do it. Step number 6. So if human resources ignores your email, then it has become abundantly clear that your company just doesn't care about your safety or other people's safety at work. And in my experience, usually HR doesn't completely ignore this. They'll address the issue on paper, but not in reality. They will say that safety is their most important priority and they want you to be safe and they're going to look into it ASAP, but then they won't actually do much or anything. So if a week or two goes by and you've been ignored or they're just blowing smoke at you, then I would go ahead and submit a written complaint to OSHA. After doing so, I recommend that you follow up with HR and send them a short email saying that you have reported the matter to OSHA. Now, why on earth would you want to tell HR that you filed a report with OSHA, especially if OSHA was probably going to keep your report anonymous? Isn't that likely to make the company mad? Well, yeah, yes it will. But here's the deal. I discussed earlier that your employer is likely to find out anyway. And at this stage of the game, they will know immediately that you were the one who went to OSHA, because if you first went to your boss and then you went to HR about the issue, they're going to just assume that you're the one who filed it with OSHA. So why am I advising you to go ahead and tell them? Well, a legal reason, right? You want to have definitive proof in writing that your company knew that you were the one who blew the whistle to OSHA. Well, why is that? Because at this stage of the game, it is likely that your employer is going to target you or retaliate against you in some way. And if you have to sue them down the road for retaliation, which we are going to talk about in the next video, you don't want a talented defense lawyer to be able to stand up in front of a jury and convince them that, well, the company didn't even know that Bob complained to OSHA. So how could the company have retaliated against him for a complaint like that? Unfortunately, that argument is very persuasive to certain people, and I've seen it many times. Now, if you're paying attention, you've probably realized that you can do everything right that we've talked about here today and still end up getting fired. You cannot control how people are going to react to you doing the right thing. Some companies respond as they should and fix the problem. A lot of other companies, unfortunately, decide to retaliate against whistleblowers. Thankfully, the law protects you if this happens. There are robust and powerful laws that kick into effect if you get fired after reporting a safety violation like this. And the next video in this series examines these powerful laws and what you should do if you find yourself in trouble because you tried to do the right thing and fix a safety problem. Okay, so what are the major takeaways from this video? Number 1, if you see a serious safety violation, you should report it because you will likely suffer serious consequences if you don't. Number 2, if you decide to report it, tread carefully. You don't want to be too antagonistic towards your employer, as you don't want to ruin the relationship. But you also need to get your report down in writing so that you can use it to protect yourself down the road in court if it comes to that. Number 3, I recommend you first report to your boss, then to HR, and finally to OSHA if the safety issue persists and you believe that someone is going to get hurt. And number 4, you need to watch the next video that I'm making here in case your employer retaliates against you. You need to have a game plan in your mind and in place so you know how to react. This is really important. Now, please remember, I'm a California lawyer. The free consultation process at my office is for California employees, primarily who got fired. So if that applies to you, we would be happy to review your case. Now, if you have any general questions about what I've said in this video, please drop a comment in the comment section down below. I try to answer a lot of questions. If you know anyone who should watch this video, please share it with them. And subscribe to my channel for more videos about employee rights. I hope this was helpful. Take care.